Hey, what's up everybody? It's Bryce back with another Walking Dead video, and well, I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode of The Walking Dead because I know I sure did. Especially since neither Daryl or Beth died. I'm glad I was right. I'm glad I was wrong on that one. Also, as for this week, for the trailers I saw, well, basically the entire episode is going to be mostly Bob, Maggie, and Sasha, and then partly Daryl and Beth, because last episode it was all about Daryl and Beth, which I was right about. Again, I feel sexy for all these right predictions. And for this week, the predictions are a little different than what I would usually think of them to be, even though this is only the second video. Because, okay, I remember in the trailer, I think it was right after the show, it said one of the three characters, either either Maggie, Sasha, or Bob said they've been on the road for 6 months after the prison. And I think that's way... Wait, no, hold on. Cut again. A minute. Bob, Sasha, or Maggie, I forget which one, said that they've been on the road for 6 months. And I thought Beth and Daryl were on the road for a while after the prison. So, basically, it's been all of this time, and well, like I said before, it's way more than enough time for Rick, Michonne, and Carl, and then Tyrese and Carol's group to make it to Terminus. Like, they've probably been there waiting a really long time, and by the time we see Rick and Tyrese's group again, it's either going to be right before the Terminus area, or it's going to be like a couple of weeks after they set up there, and then, which I really doubt. I don't know. It's kind of hard to predict at this point since it's something completely different on what... Before The Walking Dead, it was, is this character going to survive to the next week after the show? Is he going to die to the governor, a walker, some other random person, like the hunters? But now it's just who's going to get to Terminus first, who's going to survive to get to Terminus, and who's just going to survive, period, at this point. And seeing that it's been 6 months since they've been away from the prison, it's been way more than enough time for Glenn and his group to get closer back to wherever they're at. I know it's not Atlanta because... well, it's probably miles away from Atlanta because they've been driving further and further away from the city as it is since season 1. But if Glenn's group hasn't made it back yet, then chances are they've... I don't really know. I hadn't thought about that one too much, but it's not really much to think of. Like, I don't really know anything that could have possibly happened besides they either get lost or they just run into a couple of herds of walkers or something. I don't know. I mean, even 3 hours of driving shouldn't be that long. That could be about a couple of hundred. Actually, yeah, that could be about the right amount of time. Seeing that you can, depending on how fast they were traveling, they could have traveled a couple of 100 miles in that time. So, first off, my predictions for Daryl and Beth, since they're not the main focus of this episode, or won't be, most likely. I think basically they're just going to continue to struggle. 1 second. Sorry about that. Julian is calling me on Skype. That's not happening yet. No. Because I don't really think they're going to give them that entire episode together and then show them coming so close to dying, especially Daryl and Beth too. Because I was freaking out hoping that Beth wasn't going to die from alcohol poisoning from like chugging all the moonshine that she did. I thought Daryl was just going to like go out and shoot a crossbow at the walker, as drunk as he is, miss, and then get eaten. And I cannot see in any possible way them killing off Daryl and Beth, or Beth. Because I know they're not going to kill both of them off. And they're not killing Daryl off. No matter how much they try to throw at him, they're not going to let him die. I could just put that on everybody's shoulders. Daryl will most likely never die. He will make it to the end of the show with Michonne and Carl. That's actually my prediction. It'll be them three at the very end of the show. Secondly, like the second prediction, which could happen instead, is they find Beth and Daryl. Oh my God, their names are so scary put together. But anyway, Beth and Daryl find the hunters, and then they save them from something. Because I saw in the comments in the last video, some guy scared the hell out of me saying that Beth was gonna die. You bastard! You scared me. But then he said that Daryl would find the hunters and save them, so that could happen. Because he was right about 2 of 4 things he said. At least I think it was 2. I don't know, but I don't know. I liked his predictions, and that could happen. And then I could see that playing out kind of weirdly, because if Daryl and Beth save them, then they team up and work together, and they find the Terminus sign as a group, and they all make it their way to Terminus, and then Rick sees them. Then Rick's gonna be kind of freaked out, because either the black guy that got choked out when Rick was stuck under the bed saw him and recognizes him, or Rick recognizes him and just doesn't know what to do. Because I can imagine that happening, and then somebody's gonna die. Hint, hint, not Rick. Lastly, for Daryl and Beth, let's see. They also could. It was kind of a twist on the last one. They find the hunters, but they get attacked by them. But yet they both survive, because I really doubt that either of those two are gonna die after what happened last week. And if they do, if either one of them does die, and when I say either one, it's definitely both. Okay, where was I? Okay. Daryl and Beth find the hunters and save them, or they get attacked. Okay, that's right. Okay. So yeah, they could get attacked. There's that. I think that's where I left off on. Let's see, anything else before I move on to Sasha, Maggie, and Bob? Oh yeah, also, the reason I'm not having any trailers in the background, like the last video, well, last week I kind of got a copyright strike from having, I think it was the trailer where Daryl shot the crossbow at the tree. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing that I can't play trailers anymore. I don't really need them. Pictures should do good. And okay, so now we move on to Maggie, Bob, and Sasha. Again, they've been on the road for 6 months. That's enough time for Glenn to come back from, well, 3 miles, not 3 miles, but 3 hours up the road by army truck. And let's see, so first prediction. They all come close to dying, but then they all end up living. And judging from the trailer, it's close. Because in the trailer, a walker got right next to Maggie, got right on Maggie's arm and had his teeth right there. I don't think Maggie's gonna die, because same thing with Sasha. If anybody dies, it's gonna be Bob, and I still don't think he'll die just yet. Because I have a feeling at the end of the season, they want to have Sasha and Tyrese meet up and be all happy like that. Beth, Maggie, and Glenn, they will meet up. That'll be even better reunion. But in the best reunion of all, which I think they're really strong on having, since it wasn't in the comic books, is Rick, Carl, and Judith all coming back together and reuniting. Because, well, Carl is pretty much really sad that he thinks his sister died. And, well, Rick is too, obviously. Secondly, Maggie could open up about how much she misses both Glenn and Beth, which could happen also if they all come close to dying but live. Like, they might, toward the middle of the episode, she'll start breaking down about how much she can't go on without Glenn or something, or how she is the last one in her entire family to be living, because all of Herschel's family died on the farm, and then Herschel died at the prison, and now she thinks Beth is dead, so she thinks she's the last one in her family that's alive. And now her husband is most likely dead. Then I think Bob would then come out and talk about how, well, he was talking about this with Daryl whenever they went out to the college to get medicine for all the sick people in the prison, about how he was with two groups before he was with the prison group, and how he watched the entire group, both groups die, and then he should have just kept walking. And then, I mean, I don't think anybody but Daryl knows about that, except maybe Tyrese and Michonne, but I don't even remember if they were there for that and listening. But actually, no, they weren't. Never mind, because Daryl and Bob were working on the car, and Michonne and Tyrese were chopping up vines or something like that. Lastly, I think Bob's just gonna go off looking for a drink, and then he'll try to kill himself. Because that's apparently what's happening now, because Beth is doing that, and Bob's an alcoholic. Beth wasn't, and she still wanted to look for a drink. And I think that's pretty much it for my predictions. Yep, that's it. Anyway, guys, I won't make you sit here any longer than you need to. So, if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe for more predictions, Saints Row playthroughs, Kingdom Hearts playthroughs, Rain playthrough, other stuff like that, and let me know what you guys think is going to happen in this Sunday's episode of The Walking Dead. And how do you think... Oh yeah, one other thing. How do you guys think the series is going to end? Out of everybody that's currently alive, and I actually have a list of all the living characters. I'll list it all up on the screen as I say them. Rick, Carl, Michonne, Daryl, Beth, Tyrese, Carol, Lizzie, Mika, Judith, Bob, Sasha, Maggie, Glenn, Tara, Abraham, Eugene, Rosita, Morgan, and maybe Lily. Out of all those 20 people that's alive as of right now, who do you think will end up living to the final season? Not the final episode, the final season of The Walking Dead. Because as of right now, the people on the screen, the names that are still up on the screen are the ones I think is going to live all the way into the final season. Anyway, guys, it's Bryce and chicken grease and donut holes. I don't know.